Hi boys and girls, this is Mrs. Wade, and today, and the rest of this week, we are going to be asking and answering questions using non-fiction text. Now remember, when you ask a question, you have to use those question words, like who or what. You may have questions that pop up just as you're reading, or sometimes you have to stop and think about what the passage said and come up with a question that way. When someone asks a question, or you get asked a question after you get done reading a passage, usually the answer can be found in the text. So when you go to answer the question, you can usually refer to the text or reread the text if you don't remember and find the answer there. Now, I said we were going to be asking and answering questions using nonfiction text. If you don't remember what nonfiction means that the text is based on facts, real events, or real people, such as a biography or something about history. Any of those could be nonfiction texts. Today, we are going to be looking at an informational text called Mysteries from Long Ago. As you can see by the cover of the book, it looks like it could have something to do with dinosaurs. For today, I am going to read the first couple pages and have you stop the video periodically to kind of think about what questions or answers you may have as we read. And I'm going to model what that looks like. So after you pause the video and do it yourself, you're going to hear what I think as I read. So here we go. If you like learning about dinosaurs and other prehistoric animals, you probably know what fossils are. Fossils help scientists figure out what these animals looked like, where they lived, and what they ate. Today, scientists keep uncovering new fossils. These fossils help them solve mysteries. They tell scientists what life was like on Earth thousands and even millions of years ago. Now, if you notice, down at the bottom of our page, there's some purplish, bluish words. Do you remember what that is called? Pause the video and see if you can recall from last week's lesson what that is called. If you said it's called a caption, you're correct. So I'm going to read our caption for us here. It says, fossils help scientists learn about dinosaurs and other animals that lived long ago. And that picture there helps us to see exactly what the text is talking about. Also notice the important words are highlighted in yellow. The important words on this page are fossils and uncovering. Now pause the video and take a few moments to think about a question you might have from this page. One question I had after I got done reading this page was, in the text it says, these fossils help them solve mysteries. I wonder what kind of mysteries are being solved using fossils. Maybe if I keep reading, I'll find out. As we look at the next page, you'll notice that it says winter dinosaurs in blue up at the top of the page, right below the picture. Take a moment to pause the video and think about what those two blue words are when we're talking about text features. If you said they are a heading or a subheading, you are correct. Well done. Now I'm going to read the page and see as we read if you can come up with a question about what we have just read. When you think of dinosaurs, you probably imagine fierce animals that roamed swampy jungles or hot deserts millions of years ago. That's just what many scientists thought too. They believed that dinosaurs needed to live in warm climates to keep them warm. They did not believe that dinosaurs could live in cold places. Then, about 50 years ago, scientists found dinosaur footprints on an island in the cold Arctic near the North Pole. This was the first piece of evidence that dinosaurs lived in cold places. Now, scientists believed that dinosaurs could have lived all over Earth, not just in warm areas. What they didn't know was how these dinosaurs were able to survive in the cold places. Now this time, I have a question for you, and let's see if you can come up with the answer. My question is, how many years ago did scientists find dinosaur footprints on the island in the cold Arctic near the North Pole? Pause the video and take a moment to look at the text again if you don't remember, and see if you can figure out the answer. If you said about 50 years ago, you would be correct. I found that answer in the second paragraph. It says, then about 50 years ago, scientists found dinosaur footprints on an island in the cold Arctic near the North Pole. Now, I'm going to ask a question based off what I read on this page. But before I do, I want you to pause the video and see if you can come up with your own question to ask before you hear what I have to ask. Maybe, if we're lucky, we'll have the same question. Okay, so pause the video and come up with your own question. My question, after I got done reading, near the bottom of the page, it says, what they didn't know was how the dinosaurs were able to survive in the cold places. And my question is, how were the dinosaurs able to survive in cold places? Do they still not know? Or do they know and we're going to find out later? I don't know. But that's what good readers do as we read. We ask ourselves questions to help us understand. Let's continue to read on the next page. How did dinosaurs keep warm during winter? What did they eat during the cold winters? These are just some of the questions that scientists asked themselves. They kept looking for new fossils. They hoped that these fossils would help them solve this mystery. Now, if we look at this page, we see that there's also a caption on this page that helps us understand what kind of picture we're looking at there. Because if you just look at the picture, I would have no idea what that is. So let's read the caption and see if we can figure out what that is a picture of. Scientists found this dinosaur footprint on these islands near the North Pole. Ooh, okay, so now we can look at that picture again, and maybe you can make out the dinosaur footprint inside the rock. We also see that there's a circle just to the upper left-hand corner of our picture. Do you know what text feature that is called? Pause the video and take a moment to think about what that is called. If you said it is a map, you would be correct. Now, if you notice, on this page, it started out with two questions for us as readers. It asked, how did dinosaurs keep warm during winter? And what do they eat during the cold winters? Now, it doesn't actually give any answers, but we can pause the video and hypothesize or think about what we think the answers could be. So pause the video and think about what you think or how you think dinosaurs kept warm during the winter. Now, this is one of those examples where the question that's being asked is not actually answered in the text, at least not yet. So we're just going to come up with our own answer. Now, I asked you to pause the video and to think about your answer, but for me, I'm going to think about what I know about how to stay warm and what I know about dinosaurs and maybe animals and the cold Arctic. So what I know about animals that live outside in the cold is sometimes they have lots of fur. So maybe the dinosaurs had lots of fur or even really thick skin because that can help insulate their bodies and keep them warm. Or maybe the dinosaurs just had a really thick layer of fat because I know fat helps keep animals warm in the cold winters as well. Now pause the video and think about an answer to the second question that the text asked us. The second question was, what did they eat during the cold winters? Again, the text doesn't really say what they ate during the cold winters, but we can make guesses based off what we know about animals and eating in the cold. Now, I know that a lot of animals either eat plants or other animals, or sometimes both. I also know that in the cold places, there aren't a lot of plants that grow because the plants just aren't able to survive. So I'm going to guess and say that dinosaurs that lived in the cold Arctic probably ate other dinosaurs or other living creatures. Maybe they even ate things out of the ocean. As we look at our next page, I notice that there is a caption again and another picture of a map. But before we look into those two things, let's read the text to see if we can learn more about them before we read into them. Scientists began looking for answers in other cold places like Antarctica. They found fossils from a meat-eating dinosaur that they named Cryolophosaurus. They think the dinosaur was over 20 feet long. A dinosaur this large needed lots of animals to eat. Were there other dinosaurs in Antarctica that it ate? Scientists keep digging in the ice for more clues that might answer this question. So let's go back up to our caption and read our caption. It says, scientists think that Cryolophosaurus looked a lot like another meat eater called Allosaurus. As you can see a picture there, that must be a Cryolophosaurus. Let's look over at our map. We can see on our map, we can see that Antarctica and the South Pole are in the center of our map. Then we can also see 3 oceans, the Indian Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, and the Pacific Ocean. We can also see a couple countries and continents. We see South America, Africa, Australia, even New Zealand. Now that we've read the whole page and analyzed all the information on the page, like the caption and the map, I want you to pause the video and see if you can come up with a question from this page based off what we've read or the picture. One question I had when I was reading was that it said the Cryolophosaurus and the Allosaurus looked a lot like each other. And my question is, if they looked a lot like each other, are they related to each other? Did they have the same eating habits? Did they run the same way? Did they like each other's company? I don't know. I have a lot of questions about those two types of dinosaurs though, because the text made me start thinking about how those two dinosaurs are alike and how they're different. On our last page for today, see if you can come up with a question about what I'm reading as we go instead of taking the time to pause the video. So be thinking about what is being said as I read. The remains of dinosaurs have also been found in other cold places. Some experts think these dinosaurs migrated or moved to warmer places. This is what birds today do each fall. Other experts think they hibernated like bears to make it through the long winters. Fossils from one dinosaur helped scientists learn that at least some dinosaurs could live through winter. By studying the bones, scientists could tell that this dinosaur did not hibernate or migrate. How this dinosaur kept warm during winter is a mystery scientists are still trying to figure out. If we go up top, we see that there is a caption with our picture there, and we can see there's a little image of 2 new dinosaurs. It says, the Hypsilophodontid was probably able to live through winters. And now that is not a real picture. Remember, it's not an actual photograph. It's just what scientists imagined that dinosaur looked like. It's kind of a made-up, but using evidence from fossils and what they know about the dinosaur, they can get a pretty good guess of what it actually looked like when it existed. Now, as I was reading, did you come up with a question about this page? I hope you did. Instead of me asking a question about this page, I'm going to ask you a question and see if you can find the answer this time. My question to you is, it says the scientists could tell that this dinosaur did not hibernate or migrate. How did the scientists know that? What did the scientists do in order to figure out that this dinosaur did not hibernate or migrate? Pause the video if you don't remember and look back at the text to see if you can find the answer. If you said the scientists studied the bones of the dinosaurs to tell that the dinosaurs did not hibernate or migrate, you would be correct. Great job. You're going to be reading a little bit more in this book, and you're going to be asking and answering some more questions about dinosaurs and mysteries from long ago.